Buenos días, buenas tardes, buenas noches, amantes del rock y del metal. Bienvenidos y bienvenidas a Conexión Rock Radio. Johnny González les saluda y como siempre les invitamos a que nos dejen su like y que disfruten del contenido y de los invitados que como siempre les traemos a ustedes en nuestros espacios de entrevistas internacionales. Hoy nos movemos hasta Oshawa, Ontario, Canadá y vamos a estar haciendo conversación con nuestra invitada de lujo que tenemos acá en nuestro reporte y nos referimos a Lindsay Schoolcraft, que aquí está acompañándonos. Lindsay, thank you so much for accepting this interview for Conexión Rock Radio. For me, it's a big pleasure to talk again with you and share again with the fans around the world about the upcoming news that you have in 2026 now with the new album in your hands. Welcome.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Okay, Lindsay, let's talk about Harrowing. This is the new album that you are promoting and releasing, by the way, in June 19. And this is described your most personal record yet. What does the first emotional spark that led you to start writing it?
It was just time to do a heavy album. I haven't done a heavy album since like 2019, which was Martyr. So I did a harp album over the pandemic, and then on Patreon I did more of like a trip hop meets darkwave album, and I decided in 2022 it was time to do a heavy album again. This one took a long time to make, but it felt right. I started working immediately with Rocky Gray, and we just started working through some riffs, and yeah, it was a long 4-year process, but we finally we finally got to the finish line recently, and that's why it's coming out in June. And it was just time for a heavy album.
By the way, congratulations. I had the chance to listen to new material. This is awesome from start to finish around the tracks.
Thank you.
Let me tell to you, the album explores survival, rebirth, and healing for narcissist abuse. How did you approach translating such heavy experiences into music without losing artistic balance in this case?
I never planned for it to be a concept album. I just started, the guys started bringing me songs, which was Rocky and Brian and Cody. They just started bringing me these songs with guitar and drums, and anything that made me feel something, I just went with it. And then about 2 years in, we had all these songs. Some made it, some didn't. And I started to realize that there was a theme and there was a story here. But it really just started from, it came from a place where I just wanted to do heavy music again. And anything that was calling to me, I would work on it and put it together. And then by the third year, we're like, oh yeah, no, this is a concept album. Here's the artwork. Here's the title. Like it all came together quite effortlessly at that point. But it was never with that big vision. It was just more of like, I have things I need to work through and talk about and write into lyrics and melody. And that this is my place for me to heal and do that.
Each of the 7 tracks represents a stage of healing. Did you map that structure out from the beginning, or did it emerge in the natural way during the writing process?
Yeah, it sounds like it would be so painful to write that beginning to end, because the intro track, which is Mercy Has Come, and then songs like Vague, they didn't come till later. So of course I couldn't write it in order, but yeah, no, it was more just I realized about the third year into this, I was like, oh, this is a concept, but it was never like, that was never my intention going into this. I didn't really have a plan. You know, it was more just like, let's just write heavy music and see where it ends up.
Thank you so much for this answer, Lindsay. In this new work, we find a lot of highlights in this work. Like example, Mercy Has Come. Despite being the shortest track of this album, had a delightful harp, intro, and vocals. Crucify features a tremendous battle between the keyboard and guitars, creating a dynamic atmosphere. I like the idea for the I Wait For You to Fall video. This is a kind of tribute to the VH1 pop-up video?
Yes. Yeah, you got it. Yeah.
And So Alive, and of course, Chase the Dark. The first single, Crucified, used strong religious imagery and emotional intensity. What does that strong represent for you in the personal aspect?
I mean, I was raised Roman Catholic, so those themes are just never going to go away. They've been with my family for generations, and I have since deconstructed, and I no longer adhere to any monotheistic religion. But you know, the idea was there. It's still going to be in my lyrics and imagery. Because it's like sometimes you have these feelings in these situations and you don't know how else to describe it. So, you know, we went with that. But of course, tying into the cover art for that music video, we went with like the angel of death, more of the angel of retribution. You know, there's the I believe it's Nemesis who has the scales and the blindfold. And then it's her sister, who I'm completely blanking on her name right now. And she comes through with the hourglass and the sword, meaning like your time is coming. You know, you have to pay for all the things that you've done. So we tied more of that. It kind of it goes back to like Greek gods and philosophy too. But you know, we didn't want it to be too churchy, just churchy enough, and then throw in some other themes because why not?
Mhm. Compared to Marty for 2019 and Worlds Away from 2020, how you say your song has involved on this work number three in your career in this case?
Yeah, oh, definitely. Yeah, I definitely feel like this is a more mature version of me coming forward. It's very strange in metal. I'm kind of like this classical musician who's also a singer-songwriter who does metal. It's very like different, you know, and I also play the harp. Sure.
Okay.
So, yeah, so it's like you're always when you're always learning and moving along that journey, there's so much more for you to explore and try. And I love being a solo artist because I don't have to adhere to like a certain sound all the time. But you know, for this album, I wanted to step up on the production and the sound, and I wanted it to be heavy and have a bit of a modern take. So that's why I had the writers I did, and then of course I brought in JD, who's like a co-producer. He mainly works with Motionless in White, and he helped polish that sound. But this album is something that I wrote when I was 36, and now I'm 40. So I've matured even more. So the album after this is gonna probably be a lot more mature than the last one. But at least there's the evolution there. It would be so weird to like not grow and evolve, I think, as a band and as an artist. That would probably be really painful and suck.
Okay, nice point about the this answer, Lindsay. Currently, you working with the producer Justin DeBrick of Motionless in White. How this his presence influenced the heavier, more metallic direction of this new album?
Well, I mean, he works with Motionless in White, so of course he knows how to bring that sound forward, right? But something that was really important to us on this album is we also wanted to lean a lot more heavier into the electronics, like our industrial and EDM and rocktronica influences. So Justin was able to bring that to the table, and obviously he helped make everything a lot heavier, and we're really grateful to him for that because I don't feel like we could have done that or got across the finish line if we didn't have him.
Was there a moment during the creation of Harrowing when you felt personally transformed with the process itself?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was, you know, everything I sing about and composed for this album was something that I went through in therapy like back in 2020, 2021.
Hmm?
And even though I had gone to therapy and dealt with my trauma and processed it and thought I healed from it, when I started making the art, when I started exploring the angrier, darker side of myself through the art, not like the light, fluffy stuff that I did on Worlds Away and my Patreon album, I was like, oh, like, wow, like there's still so much here for me to process and so cathartic getting it out of my system. So yeah, it was a lot of big emotions. I was, you know, 3 years ago I was very relieved and excited about these songs because I feel like I had worked through something that I didn't work through in the artistic form yet. So it was definitely like a big aha moment for sure.
The album blends new metal, metalcore, electronic, strings, and chords. This is fascinating because the people who listening for the very first time the album far in love with this work, Lindsay. How do you maintain cohesion across such a wide sonic palette in this case with this new work?
Oh, that's a great question. I mean, we just keep it simple. We always are like, okay, so we have like three main ingredients. We have a band, we
Uh-huh.
have the strings, we have the classical music, and we have the electronics. And in the classical music, you also have like piano and harp. And just keep it really, really simple and write it from that. And then if we want to add anything extra in that makes sense for the song, we do that. Because I know it's a lot of cross genre contamination, right? That you have these like three major elements, which is like rock, metal, classical, electronic. But that's like our trifecta of like everything we know. So that's just, we just keep it simple in the beginning, and that's kind of how we fuse everything. And we're hoping we can continue to do that in the future while like pushing ourselves to do something just a little bit different each time.
In this new work, in this case, Harrowing, appears a special guest. We mentioned here the vocalist, the guest vocalist, Krista Shipperbottom, that appears in the track So Alive. What she brings emotionally in the vocal aspect for this track? I had the feeling that this track will be the next music video, in this case, for the
yeah, we wanted to do more music videos, but we just ran out of money. And I also direct them. I direct and produce them myself with a team. So it's like so much time and energy. If we could have, we would have done a music video for Veg and also So Alive. But we just, we could only afford to do 3 last year. One of them being Lighthouse and then 2 for this album. I mean, it was so cool to bring in Krista because I have yet to really develop and perform as a guttural vocalist. That's something that I'm still trying to figure out right now. But Krista is just a phenomenal vocalist with both clean and guttural. So it just made sense to have her on there. Like I was trying to write for that bridge in So Alive where she appears, I was trying to write different instruments and try different things with my voice and try writing my own melodies. And it just wasn't making sense. I was like, no, we need to like bring a friend on here who we love, who like gets it. And we sent it to her and she wrote something. She wrote her own lyrics and her own parts, sent it back. And we're like, oh yeah. And then she came over to our home studio and recorded it, which was so cool. I'm glad we had her there to like bring that extra element. It was really special. And her and I have been through similar things in life. So we really connected on that. And that's what makes this album so special.
In this case, you collaborated again with the composers like Rocky Gray and Spencer Crehan. Mm-hmm. How important is the long-term creative trust in shaping this song?
I mean, it's so cool to get to work with Rocky and his buddy Brian too. They're both really talented individuals. They really have a love for their instruments and they really bring forward some cool creative ideas and obviously things that made me feel something that I felt I could compose to. It's important to have that relationship with your team and your writers. As far as Spencer goes, Spencer has been there with me as my orchestrator and collaborator since after my first EP. I didn't know him on my first EP, which is not a metal album either. And we started working together like around the time that he was finishing up at university. We met at university, right? You know, I left university for my other band. But you know, he'll always be there. He's like the fourth unofficial band member. And I'm so grateful that I have him on my team. He's an award-winning film composer. He's had his work on, you know, big screen and Netflix, and I'm very proud of him. He's come so far, and he can, you know, his love is metal too. He continues to push the boundaries and work in metal. And I always tell him just do you, man, just be you, just take my ideas and make them better. And I'm lucky to have those kind of people on my team. I really am blessed for that reason.
In this case, also, had a special mention for your band members, Cody Johnston and Dylan Gowan. Had a great chemistry around the tracks in this new work. How did these guys influence the final shape of the record into the studio?
I mean, I couldn't have finished this album without them. Like, we would sit and do remote writing sessions over Discord. And they really put in their 2 cents, whether it was like an idea on drums here, an idea on guitars, or like an arrangement. Like when Rocky and Brian essentially, like, they got busy with their own lives and they had to take a step back, Cody and Dylan came in, obviously, as my now permanent band members, and they really helped shape those songs and get them ready to go to JD and finalize. And I'm so lucky I have them too. Like, there's a lot of them is in this album too, and I know they're proud of it, and I'm proud of them.
Another aspect in this new work about Harrowing, of course, this is the artwork of the album. This is inspired by Alphonse Mucha's illustration, in this case, Noel, 1897.
Yeah.
Correct me if the information is right or wrong.
It's right. Yeah, you got it. You're the first one.
Okay, what did to you to that specific visual language of death and rebirth?
Well, I mean, Alphonse is long gone and dead over 100 years ago, bless him. So it's all in public domain and it's very old artwork. And before I was going to become a musician, I wanted to be a visual artist, and he's my favorite artist. And I was just doom scrolling one night, and this picture came up. It was an old magazine cover to represent the turning of the new year in 1897, which is so long ago. And I'm like, I can't believe I've never seen this piece before. I was shocked that it existed, and I was like, that's my album cover. I knew it, and I was like, well, it's public domain, so I'm not going to get in trouble for using it. It's just like the perfect album cover. It's, even though it's like the angel of death coming to claim an old soul she looks quite young, actually. It's my computer background right now, so I can look at it while I talk about it. It also represents the death of the old self, and coming to put the old you to rest and live in a new life. And I think that was really important for the theme of this album. And it's just a beautiful piece of artwork. I absolutely love it.
In Harrowing, with a single emotional journey rated at 7 chapters, how you describe this arc in one sentence?
That's a good, one sentence. I thought it was one word, one sentence.
Yes.
I think it's haunting and magnificent, and also just beautiful, because I think there's a beauty to the pain that you go through and how you alchemize it. And that's what I feel when I see this piece of art.
Final question. When the listeners listen the album, can be identified with many tracks around Harrowing. When listeners reach the final track on this work, Lindsay, what emotional state or message do you hope they are left with?
I guess a sense of freedom, depending on where they are in their own journey. I mean, the last track, Chase the Dark, is like a goodbye love letter to a love that really wasn't love. It was a very toxic, harsh thing. It was a condition, a conditional, quote unquote, love. So I hope that people feel some form of healing and relief, or just that it's like the closing scene with the end title at the end of the movie, and they get that kind of feeling or mental imagery of that.
Okay, Lindsay, once the album is released in a few days in June 19, are you looking forward to promoting the album in a live shows, or are you focused in make more promotion for the medias around the world?
Well, we do have a hometown show in Oshawa on July 11th, and we are playing the album in full. And now, starting next week, I have to start taking these songs I made in the studio and bringing them to the live stage, which is a lot of work. We were supposed to do some stuff in Europe later this year, but due to the state of the world, we weren't able to do that. But we are going to be playing some shows in Eastern Canada by the end of the year, so we're looking forward to that. But we're going to still do the best that we can to promote it and connect with our fans online. And hopefully things are in a better state next year in the world, and we can afford to go to Europe and Australia, and hopefully back down to Latin America, South America, and eventually America again, fingers crossed. So, because Harrowing took so long to make, we've been so inspired, we actually started on another album. So we're going to, around the promotion and live shows, we're just going to be working on another album this year, and hopefully we'll have something for the fans next year too, which would be really, really great. And of course, more music videos from me, because I'll never stop writing and scripting, directing, and producing my music videos. So you can expect probably more of those, at least two.
Okay, it's better to wait that you offer nice surprise for the people around the world. Lindsay, what message do you want to send for all the people that enjoyed this interview? Thank you so much for your time here in Conexión Rock Radio, for sharing with the people about Harrowing, and send my best wishes to you and the rest of the guys with this new work. You deserve the best, and again, congratulations for Harrowing.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. It's been really nice chatting with you. And I want to say to anyone who's still listening or cares or still follows me on social media, like, thank you so much for still being there. It really means a lot. And I promise over the next 2 years, there's going to be a lot of new music coming from me, not just as a solo artist. So, thank you always for your support. You're the reason I'm still going and doing this, and it means a lot.
Bueno, damas y caballeros, pues ustedes han escuchado y han disfrutado de esta amena entrevista con Lindsay Schoolcraft y por supuesto les invitamos para que escuchen y que vayan a las redes sociales y escuchen su nuevo material discográfico llamado Harrowing, que ya está a punto de salir. Y si lo quieren reservar también, ahí les vamos a dejar en nuestra descripción aquí abajo en el video los lugares donde ustedes pueden comprar, ya sea vinilo, CD o si lo quieren comprar en digital. Ahí ustedes los vamos a estar compartiendo para que puedan escuchar este tremendo trabajo que es nuestra recomendación para el mes de junio. Soy Johnny González. Estas fueron las entrevistas internacionales en Conexión Rock Radio, pendientes de la próxima de nuestra serie. Y como siempre les decimos a todos ustedes, en donde quiera que nos estén viendo, que el rock y el metal no falten siempre en su dieta diaria. Que la pasen muy bien.